Hi, and welcome to this edition of the Executive Sideline. Today I have Tony Petro. He is the Associate Athletic Director at Oklahoma State. I'm glad to have you, Tony.
Thanks for having me.
We're gonna make this really informal, really casual, have some conversations. I want our guests to get to know about you. I want them to know about your role, how you've gotten to where you are, some of the things that maybe you did great, and maybe some things that you didn't do so great. I appreciate you being here. I thank you for being part of CABMA. Tell us a little bit about you and your role at Oklahoma State.
So my role at Oklahoma State, I'm Associate AD for Business Operations. I kind of oversee the day-to-day business side of OSU athletics. I'm also the sport administrator for OSU wrestling. I wrestled in high school. It's a great sport. It's allowed me to kind of immerse myself in a program and see things from the coaches and the student athlete side that I wouldn't have normally in the financial seat that I'm in. We have a great staff here. Been together for a while now. Some young people in here that have moved on to better positions, which is always makes you proud as a supervisor.
Like a dad kind of proud, right?
Yeah.
You've
Yeah,
got
they
some
come.
experience in that dad role, right?
I am, yeah. So I'm a very experienced father. I have 5 kids. At one point in time, I had 5 kids, 5 and under. I think when I moved from Ohio in 2015, we had 4 and under because I have a set of twin boys. So asking my wife to make the trip across the country from Wright State University to Oklahoma State she wasn't on board now, but I know she's happy we're here. At that time, I had my finance degree. I was selling investments, but as a student, I worked in the business office at Wright State, and I just love athletics. I wanted to be a part of college athletics, and thankfully my wife was a banker, so I was able to go back to college athletics. I knew I needed to be in the Power Five at the time because where everything was going financially, and I just wanted to be part of a bigger program.
That's awesome. And where is home for you?
Home for me is Ohio because my parents live there. My brother, my sister.
You talked about how much you love being a sport administrator, but stepping into a sport administrator role for wrestling is a big ask. That is, a nationally known program, somebody that's had immense success in this space. Tell me what that's like dealing with the coaches.
Being a part of Oklahoma State wrestling is a big deal. It's a big deal here in Stillwater, and it's a big deal across the country. When I was lucky enough to be put in this role as a deputy sport administrator, which is a program at Oklahoma State where you learn how to be a sport administrator and then you eventually have that role. I was very lucky because being Catholic in Oklahoma, there's not a lot of Catholics. So the one Catholic family that I got to meet first was John Smith, who was a 2-time gold medalist, won several national champions as a coach. And he kind of saw that I had a family similar to his with 5 kids and kind of took me under his wing, so to speak, and spent a lot of time with him. And he retired kind of abruptly last spring now. I can't even believe it's been that long. And knowing him on a personal level, when he said it was time to go, like he meant it. And but then you got to turn the page, and that's what we did. I was on part of the search committee, and being a part of Oklahoma State wrestling, you have a lot of interest, and we won 34 national championships. That's the most of any sport across the NCAA for one program. So when David Taylor lost his wrestling match, you don't have to reinvent the wheel here in wrestling. Like, in my opinion, a couple of things have worked, from Dan Gable to Cale Sanderson to John Smith to now David Taylor, right? Who's the young guy that's won a gold medal that all these kids that are wrestling now have grown up looking up to? He's the magic man, and he's bigger than life. And if you get him, then you're going to be able to attract high-end recruits, and we've done that. We had the first-ranked recruiting class this 2025 and now in 2026. The relationships I've built in the CABMA have really helped a lot when it comes to rev share and how we're going to kind of budget that. The systems you put in place, the way you account for things, your process to get, in the Big 12, we have several people from CABMA that are in chairs similar to mine. So the fact that we can share information between each other, and we can put a face with a name, some guy that you sat across the table from at CABMA that you didn't know before, and then you see him at an event or you see him at a game. It's more than just like transactional. It's, hey, I'm coming to Oklahoma State. Can you show me around? Sure. I'll take you around, and I'm going to go to this institution, and we're going to connect more on a personal level because we already have a professional connection. And that's always really good because it helps you get things done. If I'm really struggling in one area, I can't seem to figure it out, I know there's 3 or 4 people that I really trust to give me their best advice. and they're doing it to help me to navigate because we're all in the same boat. Like no one had done this before.
Nobody has the exact answer, right? There is no perfect answer to all of this.
Well, being in this role, you always think you have an answer until you have to pivot because what you thought was right is not right anymore, right? Or you thought you were going to do it one way, and then next thing you know, man, I can't do
That,
it that way.
that sounds like
So,
college athletics in general right now.
yes, exactly. But it's kind of fun, like, right? You want to have different tasks and different things come up to kind of make sure you're on your game, you're sharp, you're thinking about new ways to do things. And now we're trying to get a competitive advantage internally. We want to be the best, and I feel like when before this revenue share started and the NIL started, it was more of like how efficient can we be with our money? How what tools can we use to become efficient? But the day was kind of the day, right? And now it's not, and that's really exciting to me.
So you like the challenge.
Yes, of course. If you work in athletics, how can you not like the challenge? It's the whole point. You're competing and you're trying to win, and you're trying to give your side a competitive advantage that no one else has, right? That's the whole point.
In your growth and your journey, we talk about we're all competitive, but tell me how CABMA has really impacted your growth, connections, relationships. I was just going to say that what's really interesting sometimes I think in this role is that there are people that you could be starstruck by, right? In some of the, maybe you're at a Austin P, you're at a Wright State, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the guy that's the head at Notre Dame. You've heard me make it before. We love Rob Novak, right? He's at Texas, but I'm like, I did what you did with $8 million. Just
Yeah,
saying, like I always tease, like we
yeah.
have the same job, it just looks a little different, right?
He's a good example of a person that like is a genuine person, like super sharp dude, right? And he's CFO at Texas, so you're like, man, that guy's like but he is just a good dude. Like he's smart. He'll help you, like in anything you need help with. He's a text away. He's got a great sense of humor. Like that's kind of the people I like that I would want to work with or be around because everything seems to be so serious, but nothing is super serious. This is a job that we all have passion for, and so you want to be around people like that bring that out in you. You're always going to do your best when you surround yourself with people like that.
Awesome. I guess we're glad that he was at least one of our presidents for a little while, so a lot of people got to know him. How important is technology on your campus, and what has the impact grown over the last?
Technology is always important. It's becoming even more important. The way our friendship has grown from CABMA, a lot of vendors, they'll always want your time, but you've been able to put things in front of me that makes sense, right? Like there's just no reason to spend money, but if there's a reason and it makes you operationally efficient, let's spend some money. So one way technology has helped us, especially in the TeamWorks tool, is where we're trying to save money in utilities. Okay, beforehand we would run the air conditioner all night, or we'd have to turn the heat on in the wrestling room, or things like that. Well, it was always, hey, coach, so and so, are you guys practicing this time? Or, hey, Tony, do you know if the coaches are going to be in the room or wherever? Well, now through TeamWorks, the schedule is visible to the custodians and the facility staff, and the communication. They don't have to call; they just go pop up the schedule and be like, oh, they're going to be in there from 7 to 9 tonight. Okay, well then we'll just shut it off at 9:30 or turn it on at 5:30, an hour before, hour and a half before. So that communication is really really good. I love the forums, as we've been able to get more forums in there for tracking purposes and storage and real time where are we at in the approval process. Chat features. Who's reading my message and who's not reading my message? That's always I love that part. And so that like getting all of that in one place, it's also causing the department to become more involved in teamwork because I think that it has infinite possibilities if we use it the right way. But if I can always send a purchase order through the mail or through the campus mail or on a double-sided piece of paper and I wait for a signature, then they're not going to go in there. But now, if the purchase order is in there, you want to buy something, you got to go through TeamWorks, right? The best thing about TeamWorks, I'm not just saying that because you're sitting across the computer from me, is any issues we have, literally any issues we have, we can get a hold of someone like that. And very responsive. If someone can't figure it out, I'm tagging in someone else to the email, and we're getting responses right away. It was a very, very good experience we had when we were first issuing our rounds of revenue share payments. Being able to get the account in there, get it funded, get the payments out, get them approved, reviewing payments, balancing to our to the university to the balancing the payments to the ledger. Easy, 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 and it was done. The kids got paid on time. It was great, and so we're going to continue to utilize Teamworks for international payments in RevShare because of the tax documents, and it's just an easy system to use. But again, the more the coaches are in there doing that, the more we're in there. I'm in there approving payments, and compliance is in there. Like it's a great system to house everything.
Our CS team is amazing, and have done a really good job of navigating some of that. And we continue to get better and grow. So thanks for your insight on that.
You,
If you could go back and tell your younger self some advice that would help you in your career, what would that advice be?
I've learned right now in my career that relationships are really, really, really important. But you got to put the time in to meet people. You got to genuinely care and build genuine relationships because you're going to need them. I would go back and do that because I know how important it is now, not only in the CABMA community, but also on campus, right? Like taking time to walk over to campus and talk to people on a personal level, not just through email or phone, and bringing them a poster or a ticket or anything just to show appreciation. I think a lot of times over there, it's just a job, right? But we're thankful when we can get something done quick. They want to help, but they kind of really don't know how important it is in athletics, right? Where things need to get done like right now. You got a kid that's going on a tennis trip across the pond, and we need international travel with something real quick and get the approval. Well, I know someone over there, right? Or, we got to get this payment. We got to send it electronically. Not everything's set up yet, but you just got to trust me on this, and we'll get it set up, and it's there when it would have taken an extra 3 days if we wouldn't have that relationship. And they're not doing anything wrong. They feel that connection with you. Like connections are a big deal, and they want to help you. You're not just a face over in athletics, and they get whatever they want. They do whatever they want. No, like we're just trying to all tackle the same task. So I would tell my younger self to really work on relationships. Make yourself uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable because we're all human beings. We all like we all like to be liked. We all like to have things go our way. But there's a lot of times where things don't go your way, and then you're going to need someone to rely on to help you get through something. That's that's definitely the biggest thing would be building those relationships early on.
Talk to people you don't know, right?
Yeah.
That's how we met, right? Sitting next to each, watching Bob Bodine at his presentation at CABMA, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, why is this girl's accent so crazy?
I still have it a little bit, right? It's
I'm
fine.
like, she's twangy, twangy. Hey, it's my first time here too. Oh, okay, cool. And then, you went off to be CABMA president, and I'm here at Oklahoma State. We could talk about,
Like long term, what your goal is, and you get to make the point. It's not. I think more that it's like you have more of a direct impact than you know what I mean. Like
yeah, because I care, right? Like I care about the student athletes being a part of a program. In the administrator role, like you can be a hands-off administrator or hands-on administrator. I like to think I'm both. I think my head coach would would think that it's great having a sport administrator that cares, but it's also he probably doesn't like it that I oversee the budget. But being a part of a program, you learn that like you see what all these kids go through and what they struggle, and you meet their parents, and when you care about sports and you care about student athletes, like it makes you want to do something more than just crunch numbers, right? You want to make decisions that affect the entire department, the greater good. But also, from being a CFO role, like you you have to make tough decisions too, and there is a reason why you say no. I think a lot of times when we meet with coaches to go over budgets and things like that, it's always I'm really big on the no why, and not just no, and I'm going to tell you why it's no because of X, Y, and Z, and then I'll also always give them time to say, okay, why do you really need this, or what if you had to choose, like putting the choice back, if you had to choose between A and B, which one would you choose and why? Because we can probably make it work if we're going to not do something on this side if it's really important over here. So being comfortable making those hard decisions, but always telling them why. And that's important. And I will always do that. Like I've always felt it, you know, saying no or making the decision and then not talking about it is the easiest thing to do. But it only adds to future problems, right? Because someone needs to know the why. And it's better to have the conversation, the tough conversation right now than it is to let things build and then a year later you never really solved the root cause of this issue that you have, and now it's threefold and it's out of hand. And I just try and not let it get like that. So that's probably how I've grown the most in my role, is just learning how to have a tough conversation.
Yeah, tough conversations are definitely important. Coming to Oklahoma State, you talk a lot about your administration. You really like the leaders that you have on campus.
Here at Oklahoma State, I'm lucky to work for an AD like Chad Weiberg. I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm very passionate about wrestling, and I'm very passionate about managing money. And Chad Weiberg loves Oklahoma State, I think, more than anything outside of his wife and kids. When I watch him think through tough topics, and the guy never gets a lot of credit, right? There's always a naysayer, someone out there that's got something bad to say. He doesn't care. He doesn't flinch. He's a thinker, and I'm trying to grow into that. He thinks of every possible way a situation can go, and then he makes a decision, and it's a decision, and I respect it because I know all the things that went into that. Right? He's a very strong leader that's driven by his values and his love for Oklahoma State.